The winter sun hung low over the Arizona plains as Eli Turner, quiet cowboy, drifter by choice, loner by reputation, guided his horse along the dusty trail leading toward his isolated log cabin. He had been riding since dawn, hoping to reach home before the cold desert night settled in. When the sound of splintering wood reached his ears, following the noise, he found a broken wagon by a dried creek bed, a pony grazing nervously nearby, and beside the wagon stood an Apache woman, proud, tall, and fierce even in her distress. Her name, she said with a guarded voice, was Sona. She didn't ask for help, didn't beg, only stood with a quiet dignity that stirred something Eli hadn't felt in years. He studied the broken wheel, the snapped axle, and the cracked iron binding. Even a half-trained ranch hand could see she'd never get the wagon moving before nightfall. Without a word, he knelt and began to work. She watched him with a mixture of suspicion and curiosity, as though unsure why a white cowboy would help an Apache woman alone on the plains. Eli spoke little. That suited her fine. The cold wind howled across the rocks, and Sona revealed only what was necessary. She was traveling back to her people after trading goods in town. The townsfolk had refused to help her, turning her away with harsh words and hateful stares. Their cruelty angered Eli. He'd seen too much needless hate in his life. After hours of backbreaking work, he managed to rebuild the axle using scrap wood and leather straps from his saddle. By dusk, the wagon was standing firm again. Sona stared at him, her dark eyes reflecting the firelit horizon. "Why help me?" she finally asked. Eli shrugged, wiping sweat and dust from his brow. "'Cause you needed help. And that ought to be enough out here." Sona stepped closer, her voice softer now. "Not many think so," she offered him a small leather charm, a circle, woven from horsehair and beads. "For protection," she said. "May the spirits of the land remember your kindness." Eli accepted it, though he didn't believe in such things. But the gratitude in her eyes was real, unmistakable. As she rode away, the desert swallowed her silhouette, until she was only a memory under the bleeding sky. Eli mounted his horse and rode toward his cabin, never imagining that by helping a lone Apache woman, he had set into motion a chain of events that would shake the quiet world he had carved for himself. That night, as he sat by his fire, Eli felt an unease he couldn't explain, like the wind was whispering, warnings through the chinks of the cabin walls. He held the charm, wondering why Sona had insisted he keep it. Soon the wind rose, wolves howled from the ridges, and Eli Turner's life, once simple, quiet, and predictable, was about to change forever. Viewers watching this story, if you love intense frontier tales filled with mystery and heart, make sure you subscribe to the channel right now, because the journey is only just beginning. Dawn broke over the desert with a crimson glow, but instead of peaceful silence, the sharp thunder of hooves shook the earth beneath Eli's cabin. He jolted awake, grabbed his rifle, and moved to the window, only to see what no cowboy ever wanted to face. A full Apache war party, nearly 40 riders in painted armor, circling his cabin like wolves around wounded prey. Their faces were streaked with red, white, and black paint. Feathers fluttered, spears glinted, and horses snorted clouds of steam into the cold morning air. Eli's pulse raced. He had helped Sona. Why would her people surround him like enemies? Then he spotted her among them. She wasn't painted for war. Her hair was braided with white cloth, her posture rigid, her expression grim. She rode forward, raising her hand. The riders halted. The sudden silence felt heavier than gunfire. Eli stepped out slowly, gun lowered, hands open, heart hammering. An older warrior, broad-shouldered and scarred from battles long past, rode up beside Sona. His voice boomed across the clearing. "You helped my daughter yesterday." Eli blinked. "Daughter, Sona?" She looked nothing like a helpless traveler now. She sat tall, confident, the posture of a chief's bloodline. The older warrior continued. "But last night, when she returned, she told us men from town followed her trail. They meant to harm her. When we reached them, we found the wagon tracks leading straight here. We believed they sought refuge with you, or that you were part of their violence." Eli felt heat rise in his chest. "I didn't harm her. I fixed her wagon. Ask her yourself. Sona stepped forward, nodding. A murmur rose among the painted riders. The older warrior studied Eli for a long, heavy moment. Then why, he asked, are these tracks the ones of the men who followed her leading to your land? Eli froze. He hadn't seen any tracks in the night. But now, looking down, he saw hoofprints, fresh, deep, cutting through the frost straight toward his cabin. Someone had circled his home in the night. Maybe the men who chased Sona. Maybe someone wanting trouble. The riders tensed, gripping weapons. Eli raised his voice. I didn't bring those men here. But if they're coming for her or for you, then I'll stand with you to face them. I don't want to fight, but I won't run either. The boldness of his words surprised even him. Silence stretched. Then Sona spoke gently to her father in Apache, her words flowing like wind through canyon walls. After a long moment, the chief dismounted. The others followed. This was a sign of respect. A man who stands in danger for someone not his own blood, the chief said, is a rare man indeed. He placed a painted hand on Eli's chest, right where Sona's charm hung under his shirt. You wear her protection. Then you are under ours as well. Just then, distant gunshots cracked across the plains. The riders spun sharply. Dust clouds rose on the horizon. 3 men on horses, armed and charging straight toward the cabin. The town men, the ones who had chased Sona. Eli didn't hesitate. He grabbed his rifle and stood beside the Apache warriors. What followed was a fast, fierce clash, shots, dust, shouts, hooves pounding the earth like thunder. The Apache riders moved with terrifying precision, their arrows slicing the air, their horses cutting off the attacker's path. Eli fired once, striking a rider's gun from his hand. Another shot rang. Sona's arrow, swift as lightning, disarmed the second. The third tried to flee, but the chief's lasso whipped through the air and dragged him from the saddle. When the dust settled, the danger was gone. The attackers were disarmed, tied, and trembling. The Apache chief turned to Eli. Your courage today proves your heart, he said. Not all men from the towns are filled with hate. Sona stepped forward, her eyes soft with gratitude. You saved me twice, she said quietly. Eli shook his head. No, you saved me today. The chief offered him a place at their fire that night, a gesture almost never given to an outsider. Eli accepted, and for the first time in many years, he felt he belonged somewhere. As the riders departed, Sona paused beside him. The spirits guided me to you, she whispered. Perhaps they guided you to us as well. She touched the charm at his chest once more. Before riding away, Eli watched them fade into the desert horizon, knowing his life had changed forever.